WrestleMania 5 to me is one of those shows that I think is very, very weak. On this show, the Mega Powers exploded. So it would be Savage and Hogan, even though the year before the two guys fought one another. The two guys were on the same team, excuse me. This year they'd be fighting. WrestleMania 5 took place on April 2nd, 1989, from Atlantic City, New Jersey. And at the time you're listening to this review, I've watched up until WrestleMania 8, meaning I gotta watch WrestleMania 9 next, and I'm not looking forward to that. As far as why the reviews have not been coming up, because I've been trying to surprise you guys, and I've been trying to do a lot of making it making them come out in certain type of intervals. Plus, I'm not trying to overload you guys with content. But the opening match of the night was King Haku against Hercules. Decent match. I gave the match a star and a half. I think that it was, like I said, it was fine. My opinion is it's better to start a pay-per-view off with a fast-paced match. This was not fast-paced, but Hercules did have a good comeback in the match. He ended up winning with a backdrop suplex. Yeah, it is what it is. Two good workers. In the interview area, me and Gene talks to Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. I think that Shawn Michaels guy is going to end up having a big future, don't you think? They don't say that much, except to get ready. Then you have the Twin Towers. That name really would not fly today against the Rockers. Twin Towers end up winning this match with about 8 minutes. Hakeem hits a big splash, I think on Shawn, to win the match, and I gave the match a star and 3/4. It was really nothing of note there. It was, in case you didn't know who the Twin Towers were, it was Hakeem and Big Boss Man, and that was kind of who it was right there. Tony Schiavone did an interview with Ted DiBiase and Virgil. Yes, that Tony Schiavone was barely in WWF for a year, but DiBiase cut his promo about being rich and put over the $1 million title, which he barely even defended. Ted DiBiase took on Brutus the Barber Beefcake. No winner due to a double count out. I thought it was kind of a cheesy way. What happened was Beefcake shoved, hit a sleeper hold. Virgil distracted him. Brutus went after Virgil and DiBiase. They just kind of brawled on the outside. It was a weak match. Very weak. I did give it about 2 stars though. I thought it was alright. It was a fun match for about 10 minutes. It was fun but weak. That's what they needed to do more of. Most matches from this era was shorter and told less of a story. Still, they didn't know who to, I guess, put over, so they just had to go to a double count out, I guess. Fabulous Rougeaus brothers against the Bushwhackers. This match was brutal. Worst match of the night. And the Bushwhackers win in 5 minutes, but this felt like a damn eternity. It felt like forever, yo. I swear to you, it felt like forever that these guys faced one another. It just felt like this match dragged on and on and on and on. And it was terrible. God awful. I usually do duds for bad matches, but this is even worse. This is even worse, yo. I'm going to give this negative 2 stars out of 5. Yes, negative. I'm usually very kind and generous when it comes to pro wrestling, but this is a match that is just, God. I mean, okay. I've shit on the match enough. Let's move on. I wouldn't even hope my worst enemy would see this match. Mr. Perfect versus Blue Blazer. You got 2 great workers here, Owen Hart and Mr. Perfect. But Owen Hart was the Blue Blazer, of course, at this time. Hard to believe both of these guys are no longer with us, but Mr. Perfect got the win in just under 6 minutes. What did I give this match? I gave this match 2.5 stars. I found the match very enjoyable. It was a lot of fun for the time they got. They're two of my favorites of all time. Perfect didn't get a lot of offense, but he did get the victory. There was a crucifix pin which got a 2, and then Perfect hit a forearm shot, and then a perfect plex and got the 3. Owen would actually leave the WWF after this and would come back as Owen Hart instead of the Blue Blazer, which you'll see in Mania 8 when he faces Skinner. But hey, it was what it was. It was weird. Howard Finkel introduced Jesse the Body Ventura. There was no posing this year. They went to a pre-tape with Lord Alfred Hayes and a bunch of runners from the 5K race. And Mr. Fuji said he was a participant and he was going to win. And then Hayes talked to Fuji at the finish line. And then he said that the Powers of Pain would beat Demolition later. Two of the most underrated tag teams to me. The Powers of Pain, the Barbarian and the Warlord, took on Demolition for the tag titles. Demolition was the champions going in, and this was actually a handicap match. So it was Demolition, the Warlord, Barbarian, and Mr. Fuji. And I thought it was going to be a good match. I gave it half a star. That's how much I cared about this. I think the most exciting move in the whole damn match was a body slam. And that's a damn shame that it was a damn body slam. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. This was terrible. The crowd was dead for about 95% of it. So, yeah, it was more of a thing where they were glad that it was over more than anything else. Next thing, Dino Bravo, Ronnie Garvin, quarter. Move on. Less than 4. I mean, it was under 4 minutes. Bravo got an atomic drop and a side slam. Boring. It sucked. It was what it was. I didn't like it. But hey, Brainbuster took on Strike Force. 4 great workers in this match. A match that did not suck, actually. A match that was actually really good. I think I gave this match 3. I think it was 3.25 is what I gave it. 3.25 out of 5. 4 great guys in this match that know how to work. This was Rick the Martyr Martel leaving Tito Santana and him turning on him and spraying his whole spray that he liked to spray with the arrogance or whatever. Brainbusters won. Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard beat Strike Force. Great match. Like I said, these guys all kind of put their hearts and souls into this match. Best match I've seen. Best match I thought of the night. Rick the Martyr Martel basically went into an interview and said that he's been carrying Tito Santana and that it was what it was. And hey, then you have Piper's Pit with Morton Downey Jr., and it was absolutely disrespectful. Morton Downey Jr. was smoking in Roddy Piper's face. Piper said, "Stop smoking." The dude kept doing it. And then finally, he finally ended up spraying Morton Downey Jr. with a fire extinguisher. That shit was hilarious. I thought it was absolutely hilarious that he sprayed him with whatever it was. Then they aired a commercial for Hulk Hogan's No Holds Barred movie. You remember that? Yeah, I remember it too. It turned out to be a piece of crap. The movie was, but it was absolutely garbage. Next up we've got Jake the Snake taking on Andre the Giant. God, man, this match was terrible, but nevertheless, you kind of have to feel for Andre here because he's by himself, and Andre was kind of not really as mobile in the end of his career, in the end of his life. Andre would pass away about 4 years after this. So, I mean, it was what it was. you really kind of can't hate it, but the match gets a dud. 0 out of 5 stars. Hart Foundation took on Greg Valentine and Honky Tonk Man. Decent. I thought it was decent. I gave it 2.5. Pretty good tag match. Bret Hart basically carried it all the way through, though. The end of the match, Bret Hart hit Honky Tonk Man in the head with a megaphone. And that kind of got to the end of the match. Yeah, a good guy cheating to win. Imagine that. But yeah, hey, I mean, it was what it was. These 4 guys really, 4 guys really did what they were supposed to do. Did a great job. You go to you get a pose down between Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior, the video package from it. These 2 guys are going to end up facing off for the Intercontinental title. Rick Rude would beat Ultimate Warrior, which I still thought was a shock. Rick Rude, basically, the finish was a little weird. Warrior threw Rude back in the ring, clotheslined him. Warrior then suplexed him back in. Heenan grabbed his foot, Rude fell on top, and the referee counted the pin. So basically, he stopped him from being able to kick out. I gave this match 2 3/4 of a star out of 5. So yeah. Bad News Brown versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Awful match. Double DQ. At least it was short, less than 4 minutes. I gave the match a dud. I hated it. Thought it was shit. There you go. At least it was kept short. In the interview area, you got Mean Gene talking to the Red Rooster. Remember Red Rooster? Terry Taylor? Yeah, neither do I. That's how much of a flash in the pan he was. But, hey, it was crap, but was what it was. It was, Red Rooster took on Bobby the Brain Heenan. This match was an absolute shit show. I mean, why would you have Bobby the Brain Heenan wrestle the Red Rooster anyway? Another dud. Now I get a little bit of time to talk about the main event, which was the WWF Heavyweight Championship match. The Macho Man Randy Savage taking on Hulk Hogan. So these 2 men, like I said, were buddies at WrestleMania 4 as the Mega Powers. Then the Mega Powers exploded. They exploded at main event because Savage thought Hogan was trying to mess with Miss Elizabeth, but he wasn't. He was trying to, get Elizabeth to, it was some weird stuff. He was trying to help Elizabeth, but he didn't have the hots for her, whatever. So these 2 guys ended up, fighting one another. And the match was something. It had been a while, and I actually thought it was a very, very good title match. The match, the star rating that I gave it was 3 1/4. I think it was really good in a way. Savage worked his ass off. He worked at a fast pace. Everything seemed to click. Hogan did a good job in the match. It had a big epic feel to it because Savage had his moment the year before as a good guy and had beaten DiBiase at WrestleMania, and Hogan was there. Hogan had wanted the moment. And then those 2 guys end up fighting DiBiase and Andre at SummerSlam against one another. And then they just end up turning on each other. And here Savage is working the bad guy. And you can see Savage was really the guy that was putting it all together. He was the perfect villain for what was going on in the match. Like I said, it was a very, very fun match. Savage was in control for most of it, which was the right way to do it. It was a big deal. Hogan kicked out of the flying elbow, which at that time, you didn't have people kicking out of finishers. So it was such a big deal for Hogan to kick out, which it was such a big deal for him to kick out. And it ended up, being to where it was, I mean, if I had to grade the overall show, I'd probably give it about a 4 out of 10. It's a weak WrestleMania. Best match of the night, I think, in my opinion, was Savage and Hogan. The worst match of the night, like I said, was the Bushwhackers and the Rougeaus. I forgot how bad the show was. I thought it was good, but it was actually bad. You'll see some of the pros up here on the screen, though, that I did think. I thought the WWF title match was good, the IC title, and DiBiase and Beefcake. And you'll see the cons up there in just a minute. But like I said, I forgot how bad the show was. I do think that as far as up to the first 5, that this show was kind of weak as far as with WrestleMania 2. Everything just did not seem to gel right, and I think that really messed it up. Anyway, guys, in the next episode, we'll look at WrestleMania 6. Hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, guys, as always, it's your boy Killer Cam. Stay motivated. Love y'all. Peace. I am out.